as has been shown in a number of studies, including my own and your work too, this is where it came from. In other words, this came from the bowels of the U.S. intelligence community and not from some crazy cave in the Hindu Kush. That's the only knowledge that's worth anything.
Let me tell you about what... Sure, go ahead.
All the other approaches, whether you believe in the official version or you have unanswered questions or you believe in blowback, which is what Obama went with at the time, right? If you look in my book, my Obama biography, Obama wrote about 9/11, in the immediate aftermath, and what he said about it was more or less what Jeremiah Wright said, was that it was your blowback. It was your punishment.
Chickens coming home to roost.
Yeah, it's your punishment for being an imperialist. And when you bomb them, they bomb you. And the problem is that's not how it happened. That's just not true. It didn't come from them.
Okay,
or IHOP. In other words, the people who say somebody let it happen on purpose. This is all the same, ultimately. There's no difference in any of that, because it all assumes that there really is a terror organization. They really want to come and kill you, and they can if you let them, so you better fight them or fight them better or whatever it is. So it came out of the intelligence community of the United States through maneuvers, through drills. And my count on the drills, which I've updated some months ago, it's 25-plus drills happening on 9/11, recently concluded, or in advanced stages of preparation. So that's how you begin looking for what's going to happen next.
Webster, can you hear me?
Sure.
Okay, I wanted to make sure you can hear me. I wanted to shift gears. The establishment is definitely threatened by our Charlie Sheen event, because we were later sent internal emails and things. I'm not going to give the folks attention. That big online so-called, conspiracy type websites were coordinating, saying, attack Alex Jones, attack this Sheen thing, telling their minions to do it, and then telling them to kind of misrepresent, and even going with slogans against me. And we saw this within hours of us launching the Charlie Sheen story. So there is no doubt that the establishment is threatened by this.
Congratulations. I think, it's a badge of honor to be so high on their enemies list, because they do have an enemies list, right? We're back to Nixon, right? You can say Obama brings together the economy of a Carter, the lost wars of an LBJ, but also the internal security practices and secret intelligence dirty tricks of a Nixon. Obviously, as this all deteriorates, in other words, the economy is linked to Afghanistan, and that's obviously practically the same thing as 9/11 truth. As all of the lies begin to deteriorate and the credibility of this whole regime collapses, then I think a lot of that is going to fall away. And, that famous progression, right? First they ignore you, then they ridicule you, then they attack you, and so forth, right? So you're moving along that continuum.
Well, that brings me to my next point. There openly are setting up national forced conscription operations. It's in the bills. It's in the announcements. The Girl Scouts to work under FEMA in anti-terror, leading the families, so our little girls. And then they say the Boy Scouts in the New York Times are training to, quote, take on disgruntled veterans with guns and seek and destroy. And then they're also openly announcing that they have Green Brigade kids that are going home from school, telling their mothers they, quote, can't have a hot bath, their carbon footprint's too big. I mean, they're pulling all the stops out.
Yeah, I think there's a tremendous effort by the Obama people to keep that going. At the same time, though, I think the erosion of Obama, right, his collapse in the polls and the emergence of various counter movements makes this harder to do. And one of the main things that makes it harder is the simple revelation of the fact that Obama is this total Wall Street puppet. For example, everybody is asking, why doesn't Obama mobilize his supporters on this healthcare stuff? Well, he can't do it because his program is so devoted to Wall Street and insurance company interests that he can't get people to go out to the street for him.
Got a break. Absolutely. It's a bait and switch. They say it's socialism. It really isn't even that. It's just a total raping. We're going to talk about his collapse when we come back. Stay with us.
Direct to you and in your face. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
The next segment at 1-800-259-9231. Somebody's been arrested outside an Obama event with a gun. Man with gun arrested during Obama address, U.S. Capitol Police. arrested a Virginia man who they say tried to get into a secure area into the Capitol, the gun in his car. Oh, in his car. That means they were searching cars and found a gun as the president gave his health care address. But the government can have all its guns, but citizens with guns, that's scary. Webster, there's so many points to talk about. Obama is plunging, and you said, and you were right, that was the key to really expose him as a fraud in his first couple hundred days. The Obama deception's gone a long way towards doing that. Everybody's activism has. The fact that he lies about everything has done that. They're now saying, call him anything, say he's lying, disagree with him in any way, you're a racist. They're cold-bloodedly, Chris Matthews and others, injecting racial division. Aren't they the racist? Aren't they the people using divide and conquer?
Completely discredited press whores and media whores whose devotion to Obama and whose corruption is now legendary. And there's also this interesting story that General Electric, which runs NBC and MSNBC and quite a bunch of other things, that they actually have these dirty deals for patronage with the Obama administration. So you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. We'll give you positive press and you steer various contracts and various kinds of government patronage our way. I would just like to go back to this question of 9/11 and the Afghan war, because these were planned together. And one of the things I have discovered in research is this Unified Vision 2001, and maybe this can point up what we're dealing with. Unified Vision 2001 was a multi-agency exercise, May 7th to May 24th, 2001. And the scenario for this, you're going to hear, it's basically the planning of the attack on Afghanistan. The scenario was a global deployment into a landlocked country with hostile terrain, lack of basing agreements with neighboring countries. Remember, they had to threaten Pakistan with...
they were already massing U.S. troops in the area months before.
Right, and that's under this exercise, Unified Vision 2001. So one of the directors of this exercise says the real events similar to the Unified Vision scenario unfolded in the attacks of September 11th. And one of them says, Nostradamus couldn't have nailed the first battle of the next war any closer than we did. This time we got it right. So they go seamlessly from the drill into the actual war. So the drill goes live. Now, when you see not one of those, but a couple of dozen, because that's what you have. We don't have time to go through them all now. This shows that the 9/11 attacks and this geopolitical assault on Afghanistan in particular, these were planned as part of the same package. So you've got to reject both of them. And I would say to 9/11 people, make this Afghanistan question your cause, and certainly the anti-war people, if you don't have 9/11 truth going for you, then you can't defeat Obama's continued demagogy that somehow this God-forsaken, landlocked country on the other side of the world is an immediate threat, whereas other failed states, for some reason, Somalia and several others that are in more or less the same condition, they don't seem to represent the same thing. What is it? Is it something to do with the fact that Pakistan is an energy corridor and Afghanistan is where Russia and China and India and Eurasia all come together? It's sort of the hub of the Eurasian landmass, right? The heartland, as these old geopolitics guys used to say. So this is what you're dealing with. And one other interesting thing, if people saw this movie about the plot to kill Hitler, right, the Valkyrie, you see the same idea. If you see von Stauffenberg and his group of co-workers, right, they want to overthrow Hitler, and how did they do it? They did it under Operation Valkyrie. In other words, they took an existing operation that was, sanctioned and on the books and had been drilled, and they redirected it. And they redirected it, in this case, against Hitler, or at least they tried to. So this simply shows again and again and again that operations of this size and this magnitude that have to use government assets for the purposes of this private
They must
network.
be bootlegged, and they use drills or giant operations as the cover.
And you just see this again and again and again.
Well, we saw this with the flu in January for mass graves, mass arrest, hardening of government compounds, getting ready to put troops on the streets. They were telling them, well, this drill is our cover for what's really going to happen in the fall. Do you think they're still planning to use the flu as some type of police state cover?
I think there are any number of possibilities now. There's always this question of economic breakdown crisis. There are all kinds of public health emergencies of this kind or of other kinds. And then on top of that, you've got other things. For example, if you look at the group in power, an explosion in a nuclear reactor would be very, very welcome to some of these people. So I think you've got to basically learn the lesson of 9/11.
You're triangulating that they would do that to also shut down nuclear power, create some event to get their green takeover. Stay with us. I agree with you.